Hi, guys, and welcome to another wonderful Winning Wednesday. We are live. I'm going to give it a few minutes to just let a couple of more people come in. In the meantime, I will play a little bit of music. I will play, let's see, let's do some jazz. Give me a few minutes and let's get all set up and we should be ready to go. Give me one more minute and then we are going to start. Let me be respectful of your time. Give me one more minute and then we're going to start.
Hello.
Give it one more minute and we are about to start. I see that Lee has joined us. Give it a few minutes and then we're going to start our session today. Okay, I think we are good to go. What do you say, Lee?
I am ready for another wonderful winning Wednesday. How's your day coming?
Pretty okay. Can't complain. It's been a good day. Every day is a good day. You choose to make it a good day.
Every day is a good day if you choose to make it a good day.
Yeah.
It's like this old reggae song that used to sing, life is what you make it.
Exactly. Whatever else that comes through, you have to have buckets of where you place it. That way you can still continue to have a beautiful day despite what the day brings or throws in your direction. But before we just start, can you just update the topic for today? I believe the topic. You did? It doesn't show. Yeah.
Because last week we spoke about alternative forms of funding. And this week, according to the sheet, we are going to be discussing how to stay compliant long term when building your business credit. Last week, we spoke about funding your business in the high interest world using creative alternatives. And this week, we're going to tell people how to stay compliant, things that they have to do in order to build out that foundation and keep that foundation strong when it comes to business credit.
Yeah, yes. Yep, that's what we're talking about this wonderful Wednesday. How to stay compliant while you are building your business credit. But before we start, anything you want to share from this week's readings or whatever you may want to share before we jump onto our topic today, Lee?
Well, I'm just going to shut down the music if you could, because I still hear it going in the background. But
Oh, all right.
I'm gonna say, you know, the um the Federal Reserve chairman actually spoke on Friday, and while a lot of people were worried what he was going to say, he actually said that in September he anticipated that there would be a rate cut in in September,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that was wonderful news. And then on Monday, I believe it could have been Tuesday even, a Federal Reserve governor was removed by the presidency. And I thought that the market was just going to lose it. And they didn't. Actually, yesterday, I believe the S&P 500 was up uh, on the news. So that was something that I hadn't anticipated. But when it comes to investing, right, building out businesses, applying for loans and things of that sort, I believe that you can probably forecast that there's going to be a 25 basis point reduction on at the meeting in September. Let me just really quickly look for when is the meeting, FOMC meeting in September.
I believe it's mid-September,
Yeah, it's good. Do.
the 15th to or the 18th, somewhere there.
September 16th and 17th, 2025 is when they will meet.
Hmm.
So the 16th is going to be a Tuesday. The 17th will be a Wednesday, and we will know what's going to happen. I really believe that they're going to lower at least 25. Some people, at least when I was listening to Bloomberg in the car yesterday, it had actually said that it would be aggressive if they did 50 basis points. But
Yeah.
I think the bond market is replying well to that because mortgage rates are down just a little bit. What are you seeing in that space?
Yeah, so pretty much for the past, what, maybe a couple of weeks, we've seen mortgage rates have gone down just a little bit, but they have gone down. So we shall see what happens as and when the Feds meet and whatever decision that they make then. But I don't want to spend too much time on that because I really want us to jump onto today's topic, largely because whatever business that you do, it's very important to just make sure that you're always compliant. I know that a lot of times we meet people who say to us, hey, how can I do this the quickest way? Or how can I beat the system at this? And you want to be compliant. You want to run your business in an ethical manner and make sure that you are compliant and doing what you are supposed to be doing as and when you're supposed to be doing it. So, Lee, here's the question then for you.
Uh-huh.
What, I don't know how you want to do this. However, I believe there are what, four, five, six, about six things that we may want to touch on with regards to how you actually can stay compliant while you are building your business credit as a just to refresh our memories. Building your business credit is part of you building your business. It's not
Hmm.
something that you do after. As you are building your business, build your business credit to allow yourself to have the leverage that you may need or that you will need as the business continues in its growth. So, today, though, we are going to focus more on how you stay compliant during that process, during that time. And do you want to share a little bit about one or two aspects that you believe are important for business owners to adhere to as they are building that business credit?
Well, how do you stay compliant, right? You stay compliant when it comes to your business by building a solid foundation, right? So if you build a solid foundation and then you maintain that solid foundation, I believe that that's going to be the first step in order to staying compliant. So step number one is entity formation, right?
Yeah.
You must ensure that you are properly registered with your state. In Virginia, is called the State Corporation Commission, right? But there could be an entity within your state that is different from what we call in Virginia as the State Corporation Commission, right? The second piece of forming that foundation is ensuring that your entity is in good standing. What do I mean by good standing? That means that there are no violations against your business, etc. And you typically can check that out by going to your state corporation commission or similar and just pulling up your entity name to see whether or not if it says that it is in good standing. If it is does not say that it is good in good standing, maybe you haven't paid your fees or whatever have you, that's when you have to take whatever actions are necessary in order to be able to get your entity back in good standing. The last one.
And I think to just to add on to that one, I think when it comes to good standing, that also translates to filing your taxes, making sure that you file your taxes on time and you follow the procedure in terms of, do you have monies that you need to be paying? You make sure that you take care of all those things to make sure that you are always in good standing. But yeah, go ahead. What's the other one?
Well, not only paying your taxes, but your business is in good standing. You have your annual reports
Yeah.
completed, your documentation around your business is there, right? That's what it
Mhm.
means when it comes to the IRS. That's what it means when it comes to staying compliant when it comes to business credit at the same time. But the
Right.
last one that I will speak to here is the one that we have spent an enormous amount of time is telling business owners to make sure that they are separating their personal liabilities from their business liabilities. That's something that, if you follow us, we have said it time and again. Ensure that you are not commingling funds and liabilities, that the business is an entity and can stand all on its own. So that would be step number one, is making sure that that foundation that you have built is solid and that the business remains in good standing.
Good. Okay. I think one of the other ones that I really wanted to touch on was what we just spoke about, maintaining your accurate or business records to make sure that if you have to file annual reports and things of that manner, all these things are done. And if you were ever asked for any of these documentations, you have them readily available. You want to be in a position where you can track all your financials and be able to speak to them. So when you commingle, you run into problems, right? So make
Mhm.
sure that your documentation is correct, is up to date. You keep it readily available. And then lastly, although this is something that you do prior, you want to make sure that you have registered and your information is consistent across all platforms. You make sure that you have your DUNS number, and the information that you have there is the same information that you have at, say, Experian Business, right? You want to make sure all the information that pertains to your business is the same, it's standard across all these platforms, because as you continue building your business credit, you don't want to run into instances where there is disparities in terms of your information. That's going to delay the progress that you would otherwise would have had if your information was correct and the same throughout.
Yeah, I would agree with you 150,000%, is that you want to stay compliant. And if you aren't compliant, there are steps that you can take to become compliant, because the first thing that a funding source or lender is going to do is check the corporation to make sure that you are in good standing. If you aren't, they're going to just throw away your application. It's foolish. Why waste your time? Why waste the time of others? This is something that you can clearly be ahead of, and you should be ahead of. And it's such an easy thing to do. All
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've belabored that point enough, right?
Yeah, I agree.
The next one that I
I
would go
agree.
with is EIN and IRS compliance, right? The second thing that you do after you have established your entity, the next thing that you do is you make sure that you have an EIN number, which is a fairly straightforward and easy process to do. You only thing that you have to do is go to irs.gov and put in your information about your entity. And depending upon how many times you've done this, right, you can almost immediately get that EIN number. I don't see why others decide that this is something that they can charge people for when, especially when it's free and it's almost instantaneous.
Correct. Yeah. Well, I guess, it all boils down to, if you don't take the time to find out information, you are more open to others taking advantage, I believe.
Yeah. And once you have your EIN number, this is something when it comes to business activities you should always use. And when you are filing for applications for loans or lines of credit or credit cards, you should avoid using your social security number here, just because you don't want that credit to be shown on your personal file and hit your FICO unless you absolutely have to. They can run your credit for your business with just your EIN number. They do not need to have your social security number. And, the same point that we have made before, we will make it again. Avoid commingling of personal and business income at the same time. This is one of the ways that you aren't able to stay compliant. So, you know, not to belabor the point, but we do. We'll say it again. Do not commingle personal and business funds, as well as separating personal from business liabilities.
Yeah.
Anything to add there?
Well, the other thing also is that when you do have those um, separations, you make sure that when you do have credit, that your utilization, you maintain that responsibly. That's another way in which you are continuing to build your credit, because as lenders see that you are responsible with the credit, you stand more chances of having your credit continue to grow, and you stand a better chance of getting more funding as you go and look for more funding, because your history shows that you are responsible with your credit.
No, and what I like to say about this one is that funding sources follow the herd. right? If they
Mm.
see that someone else has extended you resources, they are saying to themselves that, hey, this might be a good bet that we can make. And that's when you usually get a higher credit limit on the new credit that you've applied for because of the history that you've established with other providers at the same time.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't believe that this is rocket science. It is a science, but it is not rocket science.
Mm. Okay.
You know, number three is one that I quite often see incorrectly done with a number of the small business owners that I speak to, is that they do not look legit, right? They do not have a
Mm.
business address. They do not have a business phone number. They do not have a digital presence that says compliance. So, first one, do not use your home or PO box address when possible. It is always best to use a professional business address, right?
True.
The best business address that you could use is like one for a co-working space, because when you Google that co-working space, it's going to show a legitimate office building,
Yeah.
right? I have heard time and again, especially when talking to the business credit coaches, is that it is okay afterwards to use like a mailbox. It's not the preferred, right? But using a mailbox that is not a PO box and not your home address is okay, right? Now, when we talk about the phone number, it needs to be a dedicated business line, and it needs to be a dedicated business line that has been listed with 411, right? Not your cell phone ringing when it goes to voicemail. It says, hey, you've reached Hootie and the Blowfish. No, it needs to say, you have reached Value Investment Partners. We are unable to take your call. If you kindly leave us a voice message, a representative will return your call as soon as possible. That makes sense. The last one that I often see is inconsistency of the name, address, and phone number across the online directories. So, what you can do is you can use tools such as Foursquare, you can use tools such as Yext to list your business across these directories, right? And when you have inconsistency in the name, the address, and the phone number on these online directories, you fail the NAP compliance, name, address, and phone compliance that needs to be there, which in the eyes of the funding sources is another red flag against you. These are things that you can do on your own behalf in order to avoid issues. And I say control the things that are within your control. Let all of the other stuff fall away.
And I love that you mentioned that because we do have a product that allows business owners to get a glimpse of information that is out there for them, and they'll be able to get a snapshot of where they are within that business profile, so within that business credit. You want to mention that?
The business profile,
Yeah.
give it to me again.
You have, I know that I've seen you run the program where you have conversations with business owners. They give you that information, and you are able to pull a preliminary sort of report so
Oh,
that
yeah.
we can see where they are, because that report will also help us or help you in determining if all these consistencies are there or not, and what the next steps should be.
No, and it goes back to the service that we offer, right? One of the things that business owners may not know is that from a business perspective, any funding source, any vendor can pull your credit at any point in time without having to ask you for permission. They can do
Mm,
this at any point in time without having to ask you for permission. So what I do is when I meet with a potential client is the first thing that I'll do is I'll ask them for their entity name and the state where it was registered, and I'll pull a preliminary report to let them know whether or not if I see any trade lines reporting.
yeah.
If there are no trade lines reporting, then we start there. But if there are trade lines reporting, then what we do is we offer another service where for $99, we will pull their credit report and give them a 30-minute consultation whereby we will review that report with them so that they are no longer flying blind, right? The last thing that you want to be doing in this world is driving while blindfolded. It only
Mhm.
leads to trouble. And it's never in that particular case a good reason to say, well, I didn't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Any other points you want to put in, or you want to give us a summary of all the points just to refresh our memories?
Well, these are the same things that I've been saying, right?
Okay.
Over and over
Yeah.
again. People are going to call me an old man. Yes, I do have a lot of salt in my hair now, right? But, licensing and permitting, right? Make sure that you are properly licensed and you have the proper permits and insurance that is necessary. For instance, if you are a contractor, you need to have business insurance and make sure you have general liability.
Mm-hmm.
If you have
Mm-hmm.
employees, make sure that you have workers' compensation. And also, some lenders will require proof of coverage before they give you an approval, because if they give you a loan and you don't have proper coverage for your employees, that's going to be a problem that nobody wants to deal with, right? Third number step that we always talk about is making sure that you have a business account, and then you are looking at the nines that you have in that business account, and you want to try to keep an average of four nines over a 90-day period, right? That means that you want your business bank account to be reporting at least $9,999, four nines, and there's different tiers of the nines. It's better if you have more money in the bank than what you actually need, but I always recommend that you have four nines in there. The other piece of it is your Dun and Bradstreet number, right? Dun and Bradstreet is the oldest commercial credit reporting agency in the world. You have to have your DUNS number because your DUNS number is similar to your EIN number, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
many others are going to be using to make sure that you have the correct profile. But I mentioned it before. Everything needs to be accurate across all of the levels, right? So your state corporation commission needs to have the proper name, address, and phone. And all of that needs to be the same as what you have reported with the IRS. And it's the same as what you are reporting on your bank. There needs to be no differences between the three. Everything should be the same. And if it is, you look more credible to the funding sources and you will do that much better.
Thank you, Lee. I think we've learned a good portion of information from just your sharing. And like we always say, use this time to learn so we can all learn and share information. There's always an opportunity to learn something new. And today what we really wanted to share with you as our audience was just that as you are striving to build your business credit, just bear in mind there are certain rules and regulations and you have to be compliant in order to be successful. Any other thoughts, last minute thoughts? We are at 4:30. We should be wrapping up. Any other last minute
The last one that I would say is on your website, you need to list what is your privacy policy, right? And if you are holding on to PII data for your clients, you probably want to carry insurance that protects you should that data be compromised or gets hacked at the same time. This is not something that I hear people talking about so much, but when you go and you get your business insurance, you probably want to include uh I would call them, what are they called when it comes to insurance? Endorsements that
mhm.
cover you for being hacked. If somebody does a ransomware on your data and they lock your accounts, right, you want insurance for that. But you also want insurance such that if the data is compromised, the data will be you have insurance to cover liability outside of what you're carrying inside of your general liability. I know that we are at time.
That's good.
We can talk about this forever, but we'll leave it right there.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for being with us. It's been a pleasure. It's been another wonderful winning Wednesday. Any last thoughts, Lee, for me from me?
No. Hey,
See you
it's
next
hump
week.
day. Have a wonderful winning Wednesday. Thank you for always joining us. We're still looking for guests. So if you are a small business owner, why don't you come and have a conversation with us so that we can talk about how we might be able to help your business at the same time? It's not just about funding, it's ensuring that your business not only survives, but it thrives
Right.
past year 5. See you all next
Definitely.
week.
See